am back with another video, and I'm getting ready to do some exercise with my husband. He is very into weight. He likes to lift weights, and he shows me a couple of things, so I can make my body feel good because I sit all day at work. But anyway, I was thinking and had a conversation with my husband today. And, like I said, I know my targeting has gone on for a very long time, but I'm starting to think that back to certain issues that happened to me many years ago. I mean, this is going back to 2007. And when I left Bakersfield and moved to Lancaster, initially I was going to move to Chatsworth, but this is when I separated from my husband. And I realized it was because of the targeting. But I moved back to the Antelope Valley, Lancaster, California, for a while. I was living with my mom. And I was going to move down to Chatsworth, but the job, that's when the mobbing just got really out of hand, got out of control, and I just kept thinking I'm going to need to find another job. I already covered that in another video, but anyway, what ended up happening was I had to basically stick that stupid job out and stay there for 2 years, excruciating years. But in the meantime, I was looking for work at other places. And I remember going to this real estate place in Lancaster and meeting with this man's son and a lady. I guess she was an assistant or whatever. And they gave me a test. And of course, I did, amazing on the test. And then I was supposed to meet the father. I guess he's like the owner or whatever of the company. And when he met me, he asked me a couple questions about my marriage, and then he immediately shot me down. And I was upset because it's like, I knew that asking questions about my marriage was against the law. You shouldn't have done that. And then also, I did great on the test, and I knew I was being discriminated against, but I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But did it hurt me? Yes, it did. Okay, so then I remember going to another real estate company, taking a test, and I remember the lady and her partner, her associate, was just raving about my test score, okay? Nothing came of that job. Now, I remember, so I'm thinking, okay, if my targeting has been going on and my sister has been manipulating my employment for this long, and not one person ever thought about the fact that this was discriminatory, it just amazes me, because we have these rules and regulations, like I said, sitting on the wall of every place of business. And it just goes to show you how so many people are not qualified, really, to do their job. And like I said, it's all about papers. But it makes me think about how so many targeted individuals exist out there, and they're really believing that the government is behind them. And a lot of their stories are very similar. Like, the more I read about different or hear about different targeted individuals' experiences, the more I realize that my situation is very similar, and I can pinpoint my perpetrator. These people, just like myself, they realize just how big this is. I mean, if you get calls from people in different states, okay, just to harass you, you realize that this is a very big covert operation. But the fact is that because it's so big, you can't help but think this is a government-initiated program. Maybe, you keep thinking, well, what did I do? I've never done anything to piss the government off. I'm a good citizen and everything. But I kept thinking, but I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is a lot of targeted individuals are thinking that it's the government after them, when really it's probably nothing more than a sibling, their parents, could be people from Facebook, or a combination of all of it. The thing is that we have so much access to other people's lives now. It's like, I think that a lot of this happens to a lot of people. If it's not your family, it could be some people that you knew on, from high school or whatever, and they're checking you out on like Facebook or something, and they're looking at what you have. These people could be coming back to try to destroy something that you worked for because, maybe they're a little jealous. Maybe they thought, well, I did this, this, and this, and this. I should have this, and you didn't do this, so therefore you shouldn't have this. I think a lot of that goes on, okay? And I think a lot of it has to do with your family. But overall, I'm thinking it's probably a very small percentage of the people who are directly targeted from the government. And that's what I believe. Now, I do believe that sometimes certain government officials do on the lower levels, like, for example, the mayor and, like, smaller, lower public figureheads get involved in it because they want to make sure that the operation is successful, so they might make certain phone calls and be manipulating things, and because the person thinks that this is their family, then they think that they have the authority over this particular person, when in fact they really don't. Okay, when you're 18 years old, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to have anybody directing your life. I'm not a minor, okay, and I'm not in a situation where I have anybody who legally took control of my life. Okay, so I'm not beholden to anybody. I don't owe my family anything. My family has no right to choose this. But this has been going on for a very long time, okay? So I suspect that my sister has been dominating my life, manipulating situations for a very, very long time. And I am wanting to separate myself from this. It is very traumatizing. So, some people might think, well, why don't you, call one of the people that you used to work for a job? Maybe they can help you. Okay, to me, anybody who participated in this has really devastated my life and shattered me, okay? So there is no point in trying to reconcile, be friends, or me asking any favors, okay? Because the situations that I've been in makes me feel as though my life is in jeopardy, and I wouldn't trust any of these people, regardless of, maybe their mindset and their changed heart. Whatever the case is, it's time for me to separate myself. But yeah, I think people need to start, if you're a targeted individual, you need to start questioning your family, you need to start questioning your so-called friends. I mean, literally put it out there, because your life is on the line, okay? Something this big, if you're blacklisted in one state, chances are you're blacklisted across the country, okay? And then you're going to have a lot of people knowing that you're marked for destruction, and they think it's funny to call you up and play around with your life when you are basically losing everything. It's not fair. It is crazy. I mean, it's like employers are exploiting your domestic stalking, and they are participating in it. And it evolves into gang stalking, and they need to know that somebody needs to tell these employers that what they're doing is wrong. And like I said, if this has been going on for years and years and years and years, not one person questioned this whole system, not one. And here it is. We're talking about somebody who's fully qualified to be in a decent position, and somebody who's obviously suffering from some sort of injustice. And this is a major injustice, one that I have a very hard time getting over. My mind literally goes through moments of collapse just thinking about this, because it is that heavy on me. And the issue that was used against me, a lot of these people who are targeted individuals, I'm sure that these issues are petty, but they get blown way out of proportion, okay? I've been targeted for my religious views, which nobody has the right to do. And if you're a Christian, you're somebody who's following Christ, you have no right to retaliate against a person who doesn't see things eye to eye. You don't have the right to do that, okay? By the way, you're the one who has it wrong, okay? So, I was targeted for that. I was targeted for my race, okay? The issue about me lying to my husband's not even tripping on it, okay? And yet you got people, in Virginia like Christy Siffer. I love throwing it out. Why? Because I expect people to know better. I do. I expect people to know better. I don't want people coming up with excuses. There is no excuse for this. And I get up every morning and I happen to deal with more signs, more views, more feelings of being traumatized. Okay? I'm not going to be all right. I'm going to continue to make videos, okay? But I won't be harping on it as much. Hopefully, if I can change something. Okay, I can't be in the same situation, okay, because it's not good for me. It's like this has been the worst situation that could ever happen to anybody, okay, and that is not an exaggeration. Some people say, well, the worst thing to do is losing a family member. No, the worst thing to do is losing a family member after finding out that your family is bloodthirsty and crazy. Okay, that's the worst thing that could ever happen to a person, okay? Gang stalking is the worst thing that could ever happen to a person in their life. Okay, some people think, well, how about losing a child? Yeah, losing a child, it's hard, okay? That is very hard, okay? But at least it gives you some sort of closure. Once that child's dead or whatever, not to say that, I know it's a heavy thing, okay? Don't think I'm minimizing, okay? But it's almost like you're living day-to-day, struggling and wondering what's going to happen to your life. What's going to happen to you? What's going to happen to me? I'm 45 years old. Do you think I have games to play? I don't have games to play. And I sure as hell am not going to sit here and leave my husband. I'm not going to do that. Okay? Not going to do that. That was their plan. That's not going to happen. I don't want to be with anyone. I have found someone in my life, which is rare for me, okay, to feel any closeness to somebody. I love my husband, so I'm not going anywhere, okay? So I'm getting these messages that I'm supposed to leave my husband for a better life, and there is no better life than what I'm living right now, okay? I don't want anything. I know people think, well, gosh, maybe my sister knows somebody who's got a lot of money. Maybe she's got, I don't want anybody to take, I don't care, okay? It's about chemistry clicking and having a certain amount of enjoyment, you know? And the very fact that not one employer thought, wait a second, this is weird. You know what I mean? Whether my sister's trying to set me up with somebody else or not, the fact that this is a domestic issue, okay? And anybody should know you don't discriminate against religion. Anybody should know that. So all of these things, to me, are just really weird, and I can't help but be traumatized. I cannot help but be traumatized when you get contacted from people from different states, okay? That lets you know that this is a very large issue, okay? That means that if I get to a certain age and decide I want to retire in Maine or something, that means I can't do it. That means that these people have limited my life, okay? Somebody took it upon themselves to decide my fate, okay? I have been violated on many, many levels. My rights as an American citizen have all been trampled on and shit on, okay? By my sibling and a bunch of other incompetent people who have no business making those sort of assumptions about me. Chances are it's your family. So, you know what? If you're a targeted individual, you need to start asking questions, and you need to start asking questions to everybody, okay? Don't take anybody for granted. Trust me. People are evil, okay? Your own family will roll over on you, okay, if they have the chance, okay? So in this world, you really don't have anyone but yourself, okay? So the only thing that comes out of this is for me to make other people aware. Maybe we can't do anything about it. Because really what you're really sitting on, and the issue is are a bunch of evil people going to let you live your life if they feel like they have control over you? You know? How can you break through the corruption? Are people going to be decent enough? Now the funny part is, most of the people who are holding me down, and that is really what's going on, the people who are holding me down are the people who claim to be Christian. Okay? It is a very sick situation, sick world we're living in, okay? But I say if you're a targeted individual, you really need to start asking questions, and chances are, don't be surprised if it's not your own family. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.